Um, Coach, can you talk about the setup to this game? And, you know, with it being a COVID year, this game coming up, Jacksonville, being a COVID year, can you talk about the situations and the problems you think you're going to face?
Yeah.
Maybe having to reschedule these out of conference games, and what's that like right now?
I First of all, it continues to be something that's just never would have been able to tell me going back to last year we wouldn't have an NCAA tournament, and then all the just the different things that we're having to deal with. But you know, of course, we were scheduled to play in Milwaukee, and when I tell you, and Coach Roan handles a lot of our details with scheduling, our associate head coach, and when I tell you that there was probably a call to each one of those schools and those schools to us every day, making sure we were still playing. And this is out in Milwaukee, okay? At Ball State, North Dakota State, University of Wisconsin, Milwaukee. Hey, y'all still coming? We still come. Well, of course, we've been all in the whole time. And we would have gone, to be honest with you, I'm not saying anybody did this, but I'm just saying that we're going to, even if we'd have had a couple of guys couldn't make the trip, we were going to go play. Okay, that's just how I feel about it. If we're going to make a commitment, we're going to go play. Of course, if we were our policy is through our athletic department in basketball, we have to be able to dress out 7 guys. So had we been able to dress out 7 guys, we were going to play. Some of the other schools didn't, of course, maybe didn't have that same philosophy that we did, and if they had a couple of key players out, then of course I think that you're going to see a lot of that as well. I think you've seen that in football. And I'm not saying any of that happened. I'm just saying there's just varying attitudes toward not playing, if that makes sense, Heath, where we're going to play because we're Southern Miss, and I want our guys to understand we're going to play. We don't care who it is, how many guys we got dressed out, as long as we can have the minimum, we're going to play. And that was our attitude. So, and when I tell you that there was communication from each one of those schools all the time to make sure the other ones were all in, and of course we were every day, and we got the impression they were. Well, Ball State dropped out several weeks ago. They claimed COVID, but I mean, I was a little bit surprised by that. They dropped out, and then there we go. So then they had. So we went down to a 2-game tournament, I should say, with 3 teams left. And again, we were committed to that. And then evidently Wisconsin has a rule in their state, again, varies from ours, that if one player has it, they have to not play. Well, you know, we bought plane tickets. We had food set up. We had hotel rooms, just to show you that maybe the average person doesn't understand all the work that it goes into having a trip and so forth and traveling. So we were, of course, and then even our game preparation, we were opening up we were told with North Dakota State. So we had spent a lot of time prepping for them. So of course, last Saturday, about the time the football game was started, we got a phone call. Well, we had practice, and then during practice, Coach Roan had multiple phone calls from University of Wisconsin Milwaukee, so he knew something was probably up. And of course, as soon as he got in touch with their coaching staff, they told us they weren't going to be able to host the tournament. Well, that put us in a scramble mode, and there are these things going, especially during the Thanksgiving holidays, at tournaments all over the country, and a lot of them falling apart or scrambling around just to kind of keep them together. Well, Jacksonville was in the same situation, and they needed a game. They reached out to us and said, Coach, would y'all be interested? And our girls have a tournament here, so we couldn't play here even if we would have wanted to. And so therefore, but fortunately, we need to play a game. We've practiced a long time each other. Of course, I'm always nervous if we're ready or not, but we do need to play somebody besides ourselves and kind of see where we are. Jacksonville, of course, is willing to play us, wants to play us. And next year, the agreement was if we would come over there first this year, we'll play here next year. So that's kind of a broad overview, Heath, of all the chaos that we're going through. And then my second point of that, be real brief, my second point is that's not going to be the last time probably that happens this year. And using football as is kind of how it's gone. So But here's the attitude that we've taken. We can't control any of it. It's beyond our control. So we're just going to control what we can, and that's having our team ready to
go. Coach, looks like with Jacksonville, you're going to get a mix of some returning guys in the backcourt, some transfers, and some new faces down in the post. Can you kind of talk about what you've seen from them on film?
Well, as of right now, we haven't seen anything other than last year's film, and kind of like probably looking at ours. And I'm sure they've done the same thing. Really not going to tell them too much, and we can't see too much from theirs other than we've been able to focus on the guys that they have coming back. They actually have a Mississippi kid from Picayune, Marvin Arnold, we called Mo. And actually, when I was at Southeastern Louisiana, the year that I came here, we were recruiting him. So we have a great familiarity with him. A very good player. He was either all freshman or freshman of the year in the league over there. I'm not quite 100% sure on that. I know he was on the all freshman team, and whether he was the freshman of the year or not, I'm not 100% sure, but I do know he's all freshman. Really good player, but a player that's going to be I'm familiar with personally, and Coach Rome's familiar with. And then they of course lost some players, but it looked like they had a really good recruiting class. Way I see it, they look like very similar to us on paper. Now, they do have a little bit of an advantage, of course, playing at home, but they have another advantage is they'll actually get, that first game, you don't know what to expect. I've had them where, Lord, it doesn't look like we've practiced, and I've had them where we look like the best thing since sliced bread. And who knows? Because you don't know. You don't know, when you get into your team how it's going to be, and especially with a bunch of new faces. But I think that both teams are very similar in that aspect, that they're going to have a lot of new faces out there trying to get things going. But they will have an opportunity to play tonight, is what I was trying to say. They'll play a non-D1 school, Middle Georgia, tonight. And so they'll have that kind of those first game jitters behind them a little bit. And we'll see how that comes out. The advantage for us is we'll get a chance to watch them a little bit. We'll have some film on them as soon as that game is over with. So there's an advantage there. But that's about – we have a very limited knowledge of what they're going to do. They may have changed. I know that certainly we're not the type of team we were going to be last year. We're not going to play the same way. And they very well may too.
Coach, back to what you just said with y'all not being the same team as you were last year. Just looking at your roster last year, how do you replace a solid guy who did a little bit of everything for you in the Leonard Harper Baker, especially with so many unknowns?
Great question. Leonard did, as you said, he did so many things. He was undersized, but he had a great feel for rebounding the ball, but he could handle the ball, pass the ball. Late in the year, he actually became our backup point guard. Which is saying something. So he was a true point forward. He did a little bit for us, and that was a great value to have a guy that could that was versatile and could do a lot of different things. So we're certainly going to miss Leonard in those aspects, and or do miss Leonard, to be honest with you, because he was the kind of guy you could just kind of plug around, and he had a lot of experience. He had, there's just no substitute for experience. And I mean, even on our team, even the limited experience guys that played last year, they just have things are just slower for them, meaning that their mind works a little bit slower. They're not in such a big hurry and out of control and panicked. It seems like our first year guys are at times. So, but those will come. There's nothing you can really do about that until they kind of get in the line of fire out there and go to battle, and once they do, things will slow down for them, just like it did for these guys.
Coach Ladner, have you officially come up with a starting five in a rotation yet, or is it still
certainly we've got
day to day?
We've got we'll have 3 more workouts. We'll practice early in the morning before we leave Thanksgiving Day, and then we'll practice on of course on Friday, maybe twice on Friday while we're down there. So 2 to 3 more workouts. If you put the pressure on me, and again, I understand that don't hold me to this, Heath. I know you wouldn't, but if we had to start right now, we'd probably start Tate Hardy at the 1, Justin Johnson at the 2, Ladavius Drain at the 3, Tyler Stevenson at the 4, and DeAndre Pinckney at the 5. That'd probably be our starting group if we start today. I think you'll see a lot of Artur Kanatsuk. You're going to see a lot of Jerron Pierre. I think you're going to see a lot of Jay Malone, which is good to have a number of those guys in there. I think you'll see a lot of Denaje Harris. I think you're going to see a lot of Tyler Mormon. So I think those are 10 guys I think that you'll see a lot. And there's a few other guys I think that really give us some niche type players. Jeffrey Armstrong's a guy that comes to mind, who's a great defender, and he sorry, my phone's going off here, y'all, which it seems to go off all day long. But I think those niche guys. But the 10 guys that I mentioned, I think that have worked themselves into that rotation. Again, an Angel Smith is a guy that started a game last year before he got hurt, and has shown just like last year, signs of greatness at practice at times, but he's got to be more consistent if he's going to crack into that play-in rotation. But again, I'm real proud of our guys and proud of their progress, and like I said, anxious to kind of see where we are by playing somebody else. And I think once that first game, what's so good about that first game, Heath, you can play that first game, and now it really narrows into your mind what you got to start working on. So I'm excited about, and it's not an easy one. It's not one of those games where you're playing somebody that maybe it's an opponent you beat really badly, and it, as they say in coaching, they say that sometimes winning covers up the stink. And meaning that you get caught up in winning and the players think, oh, well, we won, everything's okay. And I like the fact that we're playing a good, tough opponent on their home floor to begin with, and we're going to get a real good, clear picture of what we need to work on.
Does it concern you in any way? I was looking at Jacksonville, their basketball facility, and it's a lot smaller than probably what Southern Miss. A lot of times the play sight lines are going to be so much different. Does that concern you a little bit as a coach going into that game?
Again, Heath, it doesn't concern me in the sense that I can't control it. I know in the 80s we actually played in the Gator Bowl tournament down there, and they played it in the Jacksonville, I'm not sure what they call it, Civic Center or Coliseum, but they're a city arena, and then there's another arena that's really nice that hosts like their league tournament. I think they've hosted. But because of COVID, of course, and limited capacities, I think you're probably seeing this around the country. A lot of the schools are going to their own campus arenas, which a lot of times are smaller. And you're right. I've seen some of their game film from last year that just to familiarize myself. And it is it's a smaller type facility, which really a lot of times will play into the advantage of the home team. When you play in a tight facility like that, but we can't control that. They dictate where we're going to play, and just like next year when they come here, they're going to play at Reed Green, and I hope there's 8,000 screaming old Southern Miss fans in there letting them have it, and so they can't control that like we can't control. So wherever they say, if they want us to play on an outdoor court, like the old days, we'll go out there and we'll play on that outdoor court. We're just ready to play.
Coach, are y'all going into this game relatively healthy?
Yeah, for the most part. I tell you, it's been a long fall, and the start of the season got extended 2.5, 3 weeks or so, and because of that, there's just been more banging and so forth, at practice and live work. But for the most part, other than some minor bruises and things like that, we're good to go. Yep, we're good to go. Angel Smith has a pulled groin, and Mark Jackson he's in the concussion protocol. He broke his nose at practice last week, and he's still in the concussion protocol. So I don't know about the availability. Mark's certainly not going to be available because there's no way he can get his 5 days in the protocol prior to Saturday's game, although he's showing improvement, but Angel will be ready to go. Yeah.
What do you think about the team this year?
We're looking good. We always working hard in practice. We got a lot of talent that came in this year, some JUCO players, the freshmen, a lot of talented guys. I really think we can make a run at this thing. We just keep working hard, stick together, and just be glued together.
How does it feel to finally get to play a game?
And it feels great. When found out the Milwaukee tournament got canceled, I got real disappointed. I was just real disappointed. Then next day, coach told us that Jacksonville wanted to come down and play. So we got real excited, just ready to go down and play and compete.
What's the biggest improvement in your game this year?
Obviously, I'd say being a little bit more comfortable with the ball in my hand more than just going down and posting up the whole time, just being one-dimensional. I feel like I done got better at, dribbling one or two times, different things like that, mid-range game, and really just in getting stronger, really. Feel like they helped my game out too a lot down low.
Gained some weight in off season. How do you feel like you're holding that weight right now on the court? You feel pretty good about that?
Oh yeah, I'm definitely good with it now. I know I can play with my weight now. At first, when I came back over the summer, I was about 225, and it was kind of hard for me to move a little bit, so I had to get down to 220. And my knees and everything feel good. My body is feeling good, still jumping high. I feel good with my weight now.
What's the plans for Thanksgiving for you guys tomorrow?
I'm not really sure what the plan is. I think we're gonna stop somewhere close when we get close to Jacksonville and eat together as a team. But I think that's pretty much the plan. What we're gonna do.
Gotcha.
Yes, sir.
Man, what you benching now? I've noticed those arms, man. What you benching now, bro? You mean
Yeah.
you done look at this over here. You putting on some muscle, man. What you benching right now? Man.
On the board, in the weight room on the board, I benched the most. I got 225 like six times. I did 225 6 times.